This happened to a friend of mine. He was telling me this story, his voice getting deeper and lower as he went on. My friends and I decided we were going to make a documentary about a place here in our city. There's an old abandoned mental asylum that no one's been allowed in for decades. It's got a reputation of being haunted, and a lot of urban legends surround the building. My friend works at a local TV station as a cameraman and sound technician, so he has all this equipment laying around. And being young and stupid, we decided it'd be fun to go into the old asylum and take some footage with this crappy old camera that my friend had, which wasn't even hooked up to any kind of audio. It didn't have any internal audio recording or anything like that. It was just a camera and a tripod. We were idiots. We did not bring flashlights. We figured it would be too cliché if we had flashlights, because everyone always does that when they make videos in abandoned places. So we were just gonna wing it. But little did we know, there was something else lurking in the shadows of that abandoned hospital. Something waiting. We finally found the perfect angle, set up the camera, started the recording, and turned around to leave. That's when we heard it. A loud crash, like the sound of a metal tray or bed frame being knocked over, echoed through the empty halls. We stood still, frozen in fear, listening for a moment, but nothing else happened. The only sounds were the buzzing of fluorescent lights flickering overhead and the distant pounding of traffic from the street outside the asylum. After a minute or so of standing there in silence, we decided to get out of there. But that's when things really started to get freaky. As we were walking down the hallway, the camera in my hand suddenly began to move. It slowly turned to the right, almost as if someone had grabbed the tripod and was rolling it away from us. It turned so far that the lens was practically parallel with the ground, showing only a sliver of the hallway beneath the doorframe. Just before we reached the exit, the camera suddenly turned back towards us, almost as if it were looking for something. And then the screen went black. At first we thought it was a power fluctuation that killed the battery, but when we turned it back on, the screen remained dark. We checked the connections and made sure the camera was recording, but nothing appeared on the screen. And what had been a split second of movement on the camera was now several minutes long. On the tape, it was obvious that something had possessed the camera, rolling it across the floor and turning it to face us. When we arrived home and put the tape into my friend's VCR to watch it, we were shocked to see that the entire 20 minutes of footage that we'd recorded was completely black. As we watched in horror, the camera's movements during that time became visible on the screen. It looked like the camera had been dropped and rolled across the floor, turned and looked at something off-screen, and then was picked up and thrown down. At first, we thought it was a prank by some friends, but we knew they weren't anywhere near the building. The police had actually blocked off the area surrounding the asylum because of recent vandalism and trespassing incidents. Whoever had messed with us must have done so without setting foot inside the asylum. But that wasn't the end of it. The following week, my friends and I decided to return to the asylum to finish our investigation. This time we brought flashlights and plenty of batteries. As we walked through the halls, shining our lights on the walls, we could have sworn we saw shadowy figures darting around us. We could hear whispers and moans echoing through the hallways. But when we turned our lights in the direction of the sounds, we saw nothing. One of my friends claimed to see a figure standing in the corner of a room, but by the time I turned my light over there, the figure had vanished. It was then that we noticed something strange about the building itself. The walls seemed to be breathing, expanding and contracting slightly. It was subtle at first, but then the walls began to shake. The floor beneath our feet rumbled, and the hairs on the back of my neck stood on end. Then we felt it. A cold, clammy wind swept through the hallways, causing our hair to become instantly erect. We were standing in the center of the hallway, surrounded by dozens of rooms with locked and barred doors. Yet every window in the building had been smashed, and the wind was blowing through the shattered panes. As I stood there watching the shadows dance on the walls, I could have sworn I saw the figure from before. It was standing at the end of the hall, directly in front of a large steel gate. It seemed to be beckoning with its finger for us to come closer. As if entranced, we began walking towards the figure. It took several minutes to reach the end of the hallway, but with each step we took, the figure remained motionless, never taking its eyes off of us. It wasn't until we were within a few feet of the gate that we realized it was moving. Slowly at first, then faster and faster. The entire thing swung open with a screech of tortured metal. Standing in front of it was a large figure cloaked in shadow. Although we couldn't see its face, we could feel its eyes boring into us. And then it spoke. Its voice was a raspy whisper that seemed to echo from beyond the grave. "You shouldn't be here." The words hung in the air between us like a funeral shroud. Then the figure moved. It took a step forward and beckoned again with its finger. We tried to speak, but no sound came out. Our mouths were dry and our tongues felt heavy in our mouths. The figure took another step towards us, and this time we could see its face. Or what was left of it. Where its eyes should have been, there was only empty sockets staring sightlessly ahead. Its skin was gray and stretched tightly over its skull. Its mouth was a gaping abyss filled with sharp, jagged teeth. And its arms. Oh God, its arms. They were twisted at unnatural angles and tipped with claws like a spider's. We stumbled back in fear as the creature lunged at us. It moved with unnatural speed, closing the distance between us in an instant. Its claws raked across my face, tearing into my flesh and drawing blood. I screamed and fell to the ground as the creature loomed over me, its hot, fetid breath washing over me like a wave. I looked up into its soulless eyes and saw nothing but pure, unadulterated evil. Then it spoke again. Its voice was a guttural growl that scraped against my sanity. "Leave. Now." We didn't need to be told twice. We turned and ran for our lives, stumbling over each other in our haste to escape. I could hear the creature's heavy footsteps pounding the floor behind us, gaining on us with every step. We burst through the front doors and into the night air, not stopping to look back. We ran until we reached my friend's car, then piled inside and slammed the doors. As we sped away from the asylum, I could have sworn I heard the creature's voice echoing behind us, laughing. "You can't escape me. You're trapped here with me forever." Now my friends and I have never gone back to that asylum. I don't think we ever will. I still have nightmares about that creature and the feeling of its claws digging into my flesh. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night, my heart racing, convinced that it's in my closet waiting for me. But when I turn on the light, there's nothing there. Maybe it's just a figment of my imagination, a souvenir of a horrifying night. Or maybe, just maybe, it's something more. Hey guys, thanks for watching another installment of Scary Stories. If you liked this one, be sure to check out more stories just like it. And if you want to submit your own story for consideration, be sure to follow the link in the description. Until next time, sleep tight and don't let the bedbugs bite.